Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the longest game in the franchise, over 100 hours if you're trying to finish everything. Over 20 million unique players by 2025. 42% of Ubisoft's earnings in the 13 months after launch. Yeah, 13 months of revenue from a single game. It launched on PS4, Xbox One, and PC as a PS5 and Xbox Series X launch title. 6 years later, in 2026, people are still playing it, still debating it, still arguing whether it's a masterpiece or a bloated, repetitive mess. The answer? It's both. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is the most ambitious game Ubisoft has ever made, and it's deeply flawed because of that ambition. Today, I'm breaking down why Valhalla remains essential despite its contradictions. Assassin's Creed Valhalla launched November 10th, 2020 as a cross-generation title for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. 3 weeks later, it was available on PS5 and Xbox Series X as a launch title. By December 2020, it was clear this game was a phenomenon. Ubisoft officially announced it as a flagship title. The numbers that followed were staggering. By January 2026, Ubisoft confirmed that Valhalla had over 20 million unique players. That means 20 million individual accounts have experienced this game at some point. For comparison, Black Flag, one of the most beloved games in the franchise, has 34 million lifetime players. Valhalla is approaching those numbers in 6 years, which is genuinely impressive. The commercial success was immediate. In the 13 months after launch, Valhalla generated 42% of Ubisoft's corporate revenue. Think about that. A single game from a single publisher generated more than 2/5 of Ubisoft's earnings for an entire year. That justified Ubisoft investing heavily in post-launch support, DLC expansions, and seasonal content. The critical reception was mixed to positive. Metacritic settled around 76 on PC, slightly higher on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Players were more enthusiastic than critics. User scores consistently sit around 7 to 7.5, which indicates good but not amazing from the community. By 2026, the conversation has settled. Valhalla is a solid, ambitious game that accomplishes what it sets out to do, even if it takes an unnecessarily long time doing it. The story follows Eivor Varin's daughter, a Viking shield maiden, or warrior, your choice of gender, leading her clan from Norway to England in 873 AD during the Viking invasions. The premise is straightforward. Find a new home, establish your settlement, build alliances with English kingdoms, and navigate the centuries-old conflict between the Assassin Brotherhood and the Templar Order. But beneath that surface lies something deeper. Eivor is actually the reincarnation of Odin, the Norse god of battle and wisdom. The Isu, the game's term for the first civilization, transferred their consciousness into human hosts before their civilization collapsed. Eivor carries Odin's memories, which manifest as visions and drug-induced trips to Valhalla, where Eivor battles alongside the North gods. Your brother Sigurd is actually the reincarnation of Tyr, god of justice. Your ally Bossum, one of the Hidden Ones who gives you the iconic hidden blade, is actually Loki. These revelations complicate the narrative because Eivor is simultaneously living as a Viking raider and carrying the weight of ancient divine conflict. The story has 3 major story arcs spanning England, Ireland, and France, each with their own political intrigue, characters, and twists. The problem is the pacing. The game takes approximately 60+ hours just to complete the main story, and by hour 30, you're likely tired of the repetitive mission structure. The story doesn't justify its length. It justifies maybe 25-30 hours of content stretched across 60 to 70. The ending is divisive. Some players found it thought-provoking, exploring themes of free will versus destiny, identity versus legacy. Others found it unsatisfying, a conclusion that doesn't resolve tensions introduced in the narrative. Without spoiling it, the game asks interesting questions, but leaves the answers ambiguous in ways that feel incomplete rather than artistic. Valhalla refines the combat system that Origins and Odyssey established. You have fast light attacks and slow heavy attacks. You can dual wield almost any weapon combination, including 2 shields or 2 greatswords. The stamina management system incentivizes using both attack types strategically rather than button mashing.
The combat feels visceral and heavy. Viking weapons have weight. Axes crash into shields. Swords cut through armor with blood splattering. The animations are detailed and satisfying. However, as difficulty increases, you realize that the game's core design doesn't heavily reward stealth. It rewards aggression. You can stealth, but combat encounters are usually easier if you just go in loud. This is controversial. Assassin's Creed fans want stealth-focused gameplay. Valhalla says stealth is optional. You can play stealthily if you want, but the game was designed around combat encounters. This design philosophy alienates players who wanted a return to the franchise's roots. The ability system is extensive. You unlock skills from 3 trees: Onslaught, Assassin, and Wanderer. Onslaught abilities are combat-focused, enhanced strikes, area damage. Assassin abilities are stealth-focused, backstop enhancements, poison. Wanderer abilities are utility, movement skills, summoning abilities. The problem? You can spec into all 3 and never feel limited. Build variety exists, but there's no incentive to specialize. The world events, small optional encounters, are well designed and break up the repetition effectively. These 5 to 10-minute interactions showcase character writing and world building. They're genuinely good, which makes it frustrating that the main quests are so long-winded. Your settlement in Ravensthorpe is the hub for your Viking clan. You build structures, barracks, blacksmith, stables, tavern. Each provides gameplay benefits. The tavern lets you play drinking games and fighting, insult-based verbal battles that are genuinely entertaining. The blacksmith upgrades your gear. The stables provide mounts. What's clever? Almost everything you do feeds the settlement. Raids collect resources needed to upgrade buildings. Quests reward building materials. Hunts provide pelts for crafting. The loop is engaging. You're constantly building towards something tangible. This settlement building was absent from AC games since Black Flag. Its return in Valhalla demonstrates Ubisoft learning from fan feedback. Players wanted consequences for their actions, and settlement growth provides that. The open world is massive. England, Ireland, and France totaling hundreds of square miles. The map is genuinely beautiful. English forests feel atmospheric. Irish coastlines are gorgeous. French cities have architectural character. However, many players felt the world was empty. Between points of interest, there's a lot of traversing empty terrain. This design encourages horse riding, which is fine, but sometimes feels padded. World activities are abundant. Raids, synchronization points, treasure hunts, world events, mysteries, bounties, fighting ring matches. There's genuinely something to do everywhere. The question is whether you care enough to engage with all of it after 40+ hours. Exploration is rewarding. You unlock abilities from discovering locations, skills, weapon racks with rare gear, cosmetics. There's always a reason to explore, which is good design.
Valhalla was technically impressive for 2020, pushing PS4 and Xbox One hardware. Character models are detailed, armor shows realistic damage and wear. Facial animations are expressive. Environmental detail is solid. From forests to city streets, the world feels lived in. On PS5 and Xbox Series X, the game leverages better hardware through faster loading, improved textures, and more consistent frame rates. PC allows for even higher graphical fidelity and frame rates, though launch day optimization issues plagued the PC version. The art direction is strong. The Viking aesthetic is authentic. Armor, weapons, and clothing reflect historical research. Norse architecture is detailed. The color palette varies between regions: lush greens in England, golden yellows in Ireland, architectural grays in France. The visual identity is consistent and cohesive. However, there are legitimate technical criticisms. The game is heavy, 10 GB plus file size on modern systems. Performance can dip during intense action sequences. Bugs persist even in 2026. Clipping issues, animation glitches, occasional quest-breaking bugs. Nothing game-breaking usually, but noticeable. The soundtrack by Jesper Kyd is phenomenal. Viking folk music blends with orchestral arrangements. Combat music intensifies appropriately. Town themes feel cozy and welcoming. It's one of the best video game soundtracks ever.
Valhalla received 3 major DLC expansions totaling 30+ additional hours of content. Wrath of the Druids sent Eivor to Ireland. Siege of Paris expanded to France. Dawn of Ragnarok was the most ambitious, sending Eivor into the mythological realm of Svartalfheim as Odin to rescue his son Baldur. Wrath of the Druids introduced new mechanics like poison assassination chains. Siege of Paris brought back classic Assassin's Creed mission design, tailored approaches to targets. Dawn of Ragnarok added new godly powers, Huggrip to rip out enemy souls, Glavestorm for area control, Merciful Overtake for stealth kills. Critical reception for the DLC was divided. Wrath of the Druids was decent but felt like more of the base game. Siege of Paris was stronger, better written, more focused story. Dawn of Ragnarok was ambitious but controversial. Some loved the mythology angle, others felt it was disconnected from the main narrative and overstuffed with busywork. By 2026, all DLC is completed. No seasonal content continues. The game is finished, which is how it should be. The complete experience, base game plus 3 DLC expansions, offers 150 hours if your engagement with everything, which is substantial.
Is Assassin's Creed Valhalla worth playing in 2026? Yes, but with caveats. The base game is genuinely excellent for the first 30-40 hours. You'll enjoy establishing your settlement, meeting characters, and exploring England. Beyond that, it depends on your tolerance for repetition. If you're someone who wants to 100% everything, expect 150+ hours. If you want just the main story, 60+ hours. If you want a lean experience, maybe 20-25 hours. The game respects your choice. You can disengage whenever. The complete package, including all DLC, costs 50 to 70 euros full price, often on sale for 20 to 30 euros. That's genuinely good value if you finish everything, mediocre value if you stop midway. 6 years later, Valhalla remains Ubisoft's most commercially successful game of the generation. Over 20 million players have experienced it. The community remains active in 2026. People speedrun it, challenge run it, roleplay it. The foundation is solid enough that players keep coming back. But let's be clear, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is ambitious, bloated, repetitive, and utterly committed to its vision. It's not perfect, it's occasionally frustrating, but it's genuinely epic in scope. Vikings rebuilding in England, mythological revelation, centuries-old conflicts between assassins and Templars. It swings for the fences and mostly succeeds. In 2026, Assassin's Creed Valhalla stands as a monument to AAA ambition. It's flawed, but those flaws don't diminish what it accomplishes. Thanks for watching. If you've played Valhalla, let me know in the comments which story arc resonated most: England, Ireland, or France. Like this video if you appreciate ambitious games despite their imperfections. Subscribe for more reviews of games that define generations, and I'll see you next time.